can seem like tears are everywhere today. Just yesterday, we commemorated the memorial of Our Lady of Sorrows, in which we reflect and ponder on the many sorrows, the tears and agonies of the Blessed Mother herself throughout the life and ministry of Jesus. Our country, just this past weekend, commemorated the 20th anniversary of the 9/11 attacks. And just looking at the news or reading the paper, we come across so many heart-wrenching stories of tragedy, grief, and loss throughout the world, throughout our nation. It can be so tempting for us to want to run away from tears, to tend to shut ourselves off, dismiss them even. But I was thinking, and especially with the gospel reading today, where once again we see the tears of someone who is suffering, someone who needs healing, who needs recognition. All of these point to tears as a potentially graced place of encounter, a space of compassion, perhaps the lenses through which we can look on others with love, to look with the eyes of Jesus himself. I was thinking of just how over a year ago I had the opportunity to take a small seminar with the Franciscan sister and professor of theology, Meg Guider, when I was living up in Boston. And shortly after our ordination as deacons, Sister Meg led me and two other Jesuits in an exploration of a theology of tears, a theology of weeping, holy tears, sacred weeping. And in it we came to recognize and explore how love can be a form of knowledge, perhaps its most authentic form of knowing another person. And it's through that loving, oftentimes through the lenses of tears and compassion, that we can see rightly. Holy tears can wash away our blindness, like those scales that fell from the eyes of St. Paul, as it were, and allow us to see more clearly. The gospel reading today, the story of the woman of ill repute, weeping before Jesus, bathing his feet with her tears, demonstrates this quite forcefully. The account shows the revelatory power of love and tears to see more authentically, but also the blinding lack of love that can distort our vision and block us from seeing. As Jesus dines at the house of Simon the Pharisee sees in Jesus a teacher to criticize, a hypocrite even, believing in his heart that if this man truly were a prophet, he would know who and what sort of woman this is who is touching him, and that she is a sinner. Simon the Pharisee looks neither with love upon the woman nor with love and tears upon Jesus. He holds scorn for the sinner and seeming contempt for Christ. But Jesus looks with love, and the woman of ill repute sees lovingly through her tears. As Jesus looks upon her, he sees not a sinner, but the precious child of God, trapped and tainted by sin, a sullied reputation, and the scorn of the wider community, perhaps shame and desperation. But his look of love sees beyond the past, looking not to an accounting of her sins, but to the future disciple that she can become. And so in asking Simon the Pharisee today, "Do you see this woman?" Simon's response can only be a resounding no. For all that he saw, all that he could see, was only that she is a sinner. Jesus sees a woman, Simon sees a sinner. Jesus encounters her humanity, her pain and desperation, but above all her love. Simon dismisses her as a problem, a nuisance and a source of pollution. But the story goes further still, for the woman's tears also serve to reveal who Jesus is. Jesus as the one he's seen through these lenses of tears of this woman with her compassion and love, sees Jesus as the one with the power to heal, the ability to forgive, the one to whom much love is due, for much debt is forgiven. Love and tears, compassion and weeping open the space for such knowledge, where external observation, what Simon the Pharisee is looking at objective judgments of past sinfulness, remain woefully blind. This is the Jesus who, when encountering the rich young man, looked upon him with love and speaks the truth to him. This is the Jesus who, when calling the disciples in self-proclaimed sinful men, Peter, or the ostracized Matthew the tax collector, fixates not on their past sins, as the Pharisee would, but rather on the disciple that they can become. Jesus looks with love, and his tender compassion in his gaze reveals more than mere observation can understand. Jesus is able to see the disciple. Others remain blinded to that reality. And so, how am I invited? How am I invited to feel, to look upon others in the way that Jesus looks upon them, through these lenses of love and compassion, through the eyes of Christ? It can be through holy tears, through sacred weeping. Because as Pope Francis notes, if the tears of Jesus truly do serve as an antidote to my own indifference before the suffering of my brothers and sisters, then ought we all not to pray, Lord, let me weep? Such tears would wash away our indifference, cure our spiritual blindness. It's an invitation to see rightly with compassion and care. Much like St. Paul, blinded on the road to Damascus, yet then perceives his fellow believers anew as the scales fall from his eyes. We too pray for the grace of tears and weeping, so that as tears fall from our eyes, we may see and feel rightly with all of our brothers and sisters who suffer. This would restore our ability to see, for some things can only be seen by eyes that have cried or felt with a heart that has been moved. So we pray for that grace, that we might, through tears and weeping, not run away from our tears, but truly feel them, and in doing so, be able to look upon the world, look upon others, and see ourselves through the eyes, through the lenses of Christ.